We're excited for another season. Our team is unique this year. We have 8 new players, 5 freshmen, 2 graduate transfers, and 1 sit-out transfer. So it's a whole new team from last season. And we obviously have 4 returning key players with Jonah Matthews, Nick Rakocevic, Elijah Weaver, and Chuck O'Bannon. So we're ready to get going.
All right, we'll go ahead and open it up to questions. Please feel free to come up to the stage with Coach Enfield and to the back of the room with the student athletes.
Coach, how have you seen the level of talent kind of increase over the years? Just looking at the recruiting rankings recently, it looks like Pac-12 schools have really done well in that department, USC included.
Yeah, I think the Pac-12 brought a lot of new, fresh faces in here. Very, very talented freshmen walking the door can affect a lot of playing time on a variety of teams. So we happen to have 5 of them. Our freshmen will play a lot of minutes for us, and you look around the league, they're McDonald's All-Americans, they're top 100 recruits in the country, and a lot of good players from winning programs.
Yeah, and you have one of those McDonald's All-Americans. How is Mobley looking in practice so far?
Isaiah Mobley was a McDonald's All-American. He's coming off of foot surgery in the spring, missed about 4 months, missed our foreign tour in August, but he now is getting his timing back. He's been cleared, and so he has about 3 or 4 weeks of being able to participate in all our drills, and he looks very good right now, but we expect by the season starts, he should be 100%.
What are your expectations for him when he gets to full strength?
Well, we expect him to help us. He's very skilled with the basketball in his hands. He's a great passer, very cerebral player, and he's very unselfish. He's also a big-time rebounder and shot blocker.
Thank you.
I believe he was on the honorable mention All Pac-12. Hasn't played a game yet. How do you feel about a guy being labeled as such without even having played a college game? Do you like that?
Well, I think a lot of freshmen are on all conference teams, honorable mention, first, second team around the country. So it's nice to have talented freshmen. We have another freshman on Onyeka Okongwu, like Isaiah. We're supposedly 5-star bigs in the recruiting rankings coming out of high school. So both those young men will play a lot of minutes for us. The preseason rankings and the all-conference teams don't mean anything. At the end of the day, it's about helping your team win, and we expect both our big men as well as our 3 other freshmen to help us.
Going to the 20-game conference schedule, do you like that? Because 2 years ago, I know you didn't play Arizona at home, and that could have been a game that got you into the NCAA tournament in theory. So are you in favor of this to maybe help balance out the schedule and the resume?
Well, a 20-game schedule certainly helps. It prevents from missing key opponents throughout the league schedule. We still have 2 teams that we only play, actually 4 teams we only play once. But I think this year or in 2021 we'll only have 2. So I'm a proponent of it, and I think it'll help our league in the long run.
Do you know Mick Cronin at all?
Mick is a very, very good basketball coach, nice guy. So we don't know each other that well, but we're getting to know each other. So I'm impressed with what he did throughout his coaching career, and we're happy to welcome to Los Angeles. And obviously the UCLA-USC rivalry has been terrific for the fans for a century, and so we'll hopefully continue that.
I know we talked about preseason rankings not really mattering, but how do you feel about where you were picked in the Pac-12?
Well, we were picked 5th, which means that we have some talented basketball players. However, as I stated before, we don't really read into the preseason rankings. I know about 3 years ago we were picked 11th or 12th, and we came and we went to the NCAA tournament that year. And I think the only year that the media had it that we finished where they picked us was 2 years ago. They picked us 2nd. We ended up finishing 2nd in the league. So it's very rare that you finish what you're picked in the preseason. But I guess that being picked 5th means we have some good basketball players on our team.
With everything that's going on down at USC, and I don't want to get into specifics, but just with the new president, no athletic director, NCAA, how hard is it to keep out the noise and just keep focused on what you need to do?
Well, we have a new president, Dr. Carol Folt, comes from North Carolina, which is obviously a big basketball school. New AD will be named hopefully sooner than later. I've been fortunate to work with great people over the years in the administration, been supportive of men's basketball. However, it is challenging with the turnover, and we just have to do our best. We're focused on what our program does. I was hired as a head coach to run our program, and I have a great staff that does that with me, and really appreciative of how our players are responding with all the changes. So we're focused on what our job is and what we have to do, and I'm sure the university will fill in the necessary employment and hire the right people to carry us into the next few years.
Is it hard to keep it away and just keep focused? Or
Well, there is a lot of you see a lot of the media attention that our school has received, but it's nice to have a president in place now. The new athletic director will come on soon. So it's not easy to turn out all the attention, but once again, we're focused at the Galen Center across campus on what we have to do.
Andy, will your tempo be the same with this team? I mean, you got a lot of new guys, nice nucleus coming back. I mean, will you change your thought to maybe adapt to all the new talent?
Yeah, our tempo, we try to play fast. We try to steal the ball, block shots, and get out and run. 2 years ago, we were very good defensively. We led the league in least amount of points in league games. And last year, we took a step back because we didn't have the rim protection. But now we think we have three bigs that can protect the basket. We also have some exceptional length and quickness on the perimeter. So we think we can be a much better defensive team to get that transition game going. And then we also have some very good shooters. We have a very good shooting team to space the floor and play our style of basketball. So we have the ability to play big and small or in between this year because of our three bigs and our perimeter shooting.
Expecting from Quentin, is it when you have a grad transfer, is it a different feel? I mean, I can't even relate to it, but I mean, is the confidence I've seen what this guy's proven what he can do in college, and you kind of, does that translate like from watching practice a couple weeks? What you saw is what you get?
Yeah, we had the advantage, PJ, of going overseas. We had 10 practices in August, played 3 games in Spain and France, and then we've had 7 or 8 practices so far this fall. And Quentin Adler from Columbia and Danny Utomi from Akron, the 2 grad transfers, they've been there, played in big games, and produced at the college level. Quentin averaged 13 points a game last year. I think Danny averaged 14 points and 6 rebounds. So to have 2 experienced guys that have been there 4 years of college, have their degree, they're mature physically, they're mature mentally, and they're professionals when they step on the court. So they've been a huge addition to our program, not only from a talent perspective, but how they conduct their business on a day-to-day basis.
When you put the schedule together, I mean, were you able to do it enough recently? I mean, with guys who left and everything from last year, did that go into this schedule, or was the schedule kind of already there? But it seems fortunate the way it worked out, having that summer preparation.
Yeah, well, we knew after losing some key guys to the NBA early, also some transfers, that we needed some veterans to come in and help us because we had a big freshman recruiting class, but we didn't think first of all, we needed 10 players to practice, so we had to go get a couple. But we scheduled to go to the NCAA tournament like we have every season, and we have a challenging schedule this year with some good out-of-conference games. And, of course, the league going to the teams we play in the league this year, we factored that in. So we have a challenging schedule to go to the NCAA tournament.
What do you tell Nick, or what have you told Nick? I mean, what's the challenge for Nick this year? I mean, he's already established himself, obviously, as a quality player, but what does he need to do to take the next step for you, not beyond USC?
Well, Nick Rakocevic is an all-league type player. He voted first team all-league here in the preseason, but he has to go prove that. And so what we're looking for Nick is to lead by example on and off the court and give us consistency. And I think last year the reason he wasn't named first or second team all-league is because of his consistency. He'd have some great games and not so many. A few games that where we struggled a little bit for a variety of reasons. So he is a talent. He's one of our leaders. He's been with us 4 years. He's played in the NCAA tournament a few times. He's played in the Pac-12 championship. So he's been there. Now he needs to be a leader and take us to where we haven't gone before. So we're looking forward to that.
What's gone into this recent recruiting success that you've had, and how do you sustain it?
The recruiting success we've had, I have a terrific staff. And you have to look at them. They've done a tremendous job of selling the USC basketball program in Southern California and around the country now based on our success the last 3 or 4 years. So as a head coach, you're only as good as your staff, and that goes into recruiting because we have to go into the living rooms of recruits and their families and sell what we have to offer them, not only from an academic standpoint and athletic and off the court. And our job as basketball coaches is to get these 18, 19-year-olds and hopefully mentor them and mold them into guys that are set up for success when they graduate.
Have you become more national in scope, or would you say it stayed about the same?
Well, out of our 5-man freshman class this year, 4 from Southern California. Cal Sturman's from Atlanta. He's also a top 100 player, a very good player. So we focus on Southern California, but based on our success the last few years, we're now able to go around the country. And we do have we have players from Las Vegas, from Florida. We had some Seattle players recently. So we do recruit nationally, but I would say probably 50 to 60% of our roster will always be California players.
Coach, how important is it to have guys like Nick Brkosovic and Jonah Matthews as you transition to having a younger roster with all the freshmen? And how do you think their leadership is going to help with their transition to the college game?
Yeah, Nick and Jonah have been consistent players for 3 seasons. As I just mentioned, they played in the NCAA tournament. They've been in a Pac-12 championship game. So they have experience and they know what a winning team looks like. And so for them to pass that on to what for the younger players, our younger players have never played a college game yet. So it's important to understand the level of consistency and how hard you have to work on a daily basis. And we're looking for Jonah and Nick to teach our younger players that. And that's why the 2 grad transfers help as well.
Do you like it when UCLA's good? Does that help you?
Do I like it when UCLA's good? Of course. We think Los Angeles is the best basketball city in the United States, the biggest market. Now we have 2 NBA teams with some superstars on, the Lakers and Clippers. UCLA, they have a great coach and some very, very good players. Our job is just to keep up with everybody else in the city. And so with the AAU and the high school teams around the city and around the Southern California area, we think LA is a hotbed for basketball.
And everybody's saying, and I think rightfully so, that the Pac is better. But you're there, you've been here, you have a much better perspective than outside people. How different do you think right now going in compared to the last couple of years, looking at the 12 schools, collectively?
I think the Pac-12 has positioned itself now with the influx of talent to have a better out-of-conference season this year and carry that into the league. I think you'll see very, very competitive games once the league starts. But the key for us is to get out to an out-of-conference start to win some of those key games across our conference.
You may have answered this already, but I'll ask it anyway. With the three-point line moved out, you think you'll see more zones now, or will you attack differently? You're going to go inside a little bit more, or just play the same way?
Well, it'll be interesting to see what the three-point distance does to percentages. I personally believe that the great shooters will shoot about the same percentage, but I do think the marginal shooters and some of the forwards and the big men that shouldn't be shooting a lot of threes, I think their percentages will go down because it is a significant difference. And so back in the NBA when I was coaching, I was there when they experimented from the 23-9 and made it 22 feet all the way around. And our line now is 22 1 3/4. So there's a big difference between 22 feet and 23-9, and there's certainly a big difference between what we had last year and what they made it now. So it'll be very interesting to see how, if you can differentiate not only from a team shooting percentage, but also some of the guards versus the forwards versus the big men that think they're good shooters.
You think you see more zone?
I don't know if we'll see more zone, but I do think that a challenge three from this distance is a much tougher shot.
Does any player on your roster go from green light to red light with this new distance?
Green light to red light, that's earned in practice and in the games, and so we give our players a lot of freedom, but at the same time, there comes responsibility.
It's what you do, maybe better than anything. Will you shoot more because of the line, like with, more time in practice or more to drill that specifically, or it's still the same three-point line, in your players' minds?
Yeah, I think you spend part of your practice on shooting drills, and we rely on before practice individual development and after practice to get the volume shots up, and then we do the game shooting within practice. So I can't say that we're going to shoot a ton more on a per day or per week basis, but I think the great shooters can be able to shoot. They can shoot from that distance pretty easily.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you very much for your time,
Thank
Coach.
you.
Appreciate it.